What's up, guys? I'm back with more F123, my team this time. We're jumping right into Monaco, and there's a good reason for that, which I'll show you in a second. But the story of the season thus far has been we've done okay at some points, but we are not doing well in the championship. I'm something like sixth or seventh place in the championship. I don't remember, but I'm a lot of points behind Leclerc, and frankly, Monaco is not going to help me catch up. I jumped right into it. I would have shown you guys the whole video, but unfortunately, I had to retire on lap 9 with mechanical failure, which is the second time this season that's happened, and you start to wonder if it's going to be the tail of my season, that I just have to retire too many times for mechanical failure. And probably get some penalties down the road because I'm blowing engine parts when I do this. So unfortunately, no points at Monaco, which is a shame. I was doing okay. Had a 3-second penalty for corner cutting, which is a different story for a different time. Well, you're probably not going to see it because you just saw the extent of the Monaco Grand Prix. But we're on to Spain personally, and I'll show you the standings right here. This is after Monaco, so I'm sixth place in the standings. In the constructors, we are fourth. We got a lot of ground to make up on Leclerc and all the other guys, but fortunately, I'm one good result away from really moving myself up in the standings. And you can see there 2 DNFs, a win, 2 other podiums. So not the greatest of seasons so far. But Spain, fortunately, is a track that I feel pretty good at. And I always seem to have good races here. And I feel pretty confident here. So I'm hoping that I can get a good result and catapult our way up the standings a little bit and make the rest of the season easier and not require a bunch of wins nonstop. So we're jumping right into qualifying. First lap there obviously went a little wide, finished the lap and got a place, but second lap, I went a little deep on that corner, and we're basically putting it all on the third lap here. I am the last car out to do my lap, which hopefully is good. The track will be as evolved as it can possibly be for anyone during qualifying. I'm P6 as it stands going into this last lap, but you have to think that a few of the drivers who are finishing laps will probably improve. So my guess is that we'll move down a little bit by the time I finish my lap and then hopefully catapult up. Through the first sector here, finishing the first sector there in purple, but I'm really not that far up on my previous lap, so I think it's going to take a little bit more than that to improve and get the kind of position that I really need. But it also looks like none of the other drivers really did improve, so P6 it seems like it's going to be my floor here, and hopefully we can gain more time than that. Took that turn a little better than you saw me do on the second lap, and I immediately gained something like 3/10, 4/10, and I feel pretty good going through this third sector, 8/10 up. I mean, I'm thinking pole, absolutely pole, almost a full second up on my second lap time. So this is quite the lap. It was a good one to end on, and I come across the line, P1 pole. So good outcome there. I put it all together and felt like I was going in on a strong footing going into the race with the pole, and then also just kind of feeling good on the track. And we do have the best car. That obviously did not help my teammate very much. You see, qualified 11th, but it does help me. I feel good in this car, and the hope is just stay in front of these guys that are right behind me that are some of my championship rivals. We've got Verstappen, we got Sainz, we got Leclerc. So I think we got our work cut out for us today, and I think it's going to depend kind of on maybe strategy and just see what people are doing in terms of strategy, because there have certainly been a few races already in this season that you may or may not have seen on the channel where I was in a good position and then just sort of got in a bad place because of strategy that other drivers took and just sort of left me caught out a bit. So we're going down the grid here. I'm first, Hamilton second, Verstappen third, Russell, Perez, Leclerc. So Leclerc is in sixth. That's a little bit of breathing room, and that's pretty good. He's the championship leader, of course, my teammate in 11th, as I mentioned. But Leclerc is my championship rival here. Hamilton, Russell, Sainz, all those guys are around as well. But Leclerc is really the one that we want to put a lot of distance between me and him to capitalize or maximize the amount of points net that we're getting here in this race. So My plan is just to get out to an early lead as much as I can, just gap these guys, and then hopefully sail off right off into the sunset if at all possible. And I think if I get a good start, that's something that I could totally do. So we'll see what's possible here. Going into the strategy screen, as you will see here, what I've been suggested is two stop, medium, medium, hard. And I mess around with it a bit. I don't think that I have any new softs, which I feel like I should have. I used 3 sets in qualifying, but my understanding was that you get another set going into the race. Apparently not. I don't know if a one stop is optimal here, but I wonder if I had a soft and a medium tire, maybe I could have made that work. But as it stands, um, well, maybe more like a soft hard best case, maybe medium hard. I don't know. But it seems like the possible race strategies that are getting suggested here are a 2 stop and a 3 stop. If I'm not mistaken, I think my teammate might be on a 3 stop, just knowing from looking at the race. But you may have seen a lot of drivers behind me on the softs. I think Verstappen was on the softs. Hamilton was on the hards, but it looked like Leclerc and Verstappen might have both been on the softs. TBD on that. But I know Verstappen was. So it could be interesting here. There's always the risk that some of these soft runners are able to get out in front of me and be in a better position. But I'm going to try to just hold on for dear life and see what I can do. We get to 5 red lights. Away we go. Pretty good start immediately. I don't have any red arrows. These guys did not get as good of a start as I did. But Hamilton is immediately just dropping behind. I do not think he got a very good start. Verstappen seems to be the clear P2 here. And Hamilton, Perez, Russell are all over 1 second behind already. So you would think that there was probably a little bit of traffic problems for them at turn 1. And it seems like Verstappen and I were the only 2 drivers that were able to really get out ahead of everything. So already I'm a little worried just by the fact that Verstappen's on the soft tires. I feel like I'm going to have to work very hard to stay in front of him, even though I do have a better car. And I'm feeling good about the fact that Hamilton, Perez, Russell are all over 1 second behind, because the goal ultimately was to get at least a second ahead of everybody by the time DRS is open, so that they're not getting this free suction cup to the back of my car throughout the DRS zones. Bit of a snap of oversteer there, but fortunately I kept it on the road. That would have been a disastrous little time loss there. Verstappen had gotten by, and Hamilton and Perez and Russell had gotten close. But Verstappen is just all over my tail. At the end of the first lap, he's less than 2 tenths behind me, and it looks like he's getting a better exit going down the start-finish straight. I'm going to use a lot of battery here. I have pretty good battery management in this car. It just feels like we've got a lot of it. So I think our ERS systems are maybe better than some of the other guys on the grid. But Verstappen certainly is staying very close here. Going down this second DRS straight, we don't have DRS yet, but Verstappen got a better exit than I did and was able to pass me. So before we're even in the DRS zone, Verstappen is ahead of me. But honestly, this might kind of work out for me, because then I can sort of stay glued to the back of him with DRS, because I think he's faster than I am right this very second. Despite me having the faster car, he's on the soft tires, and I think he has a bit of an advantage here. So for the moment, I'm going to see if I can stick with him, and also just kind of see what the situation with Perez is, because if Perez drops over a second behind, then I should be okay. And it seems like he very quickly does. Lap 4, 5, 6 here. I'm staying within a second of Verstappen, just capitalizing on the DRS. But we're slowly pulling away from all the drivers behind us, from Russell, from Perez, from Sainz. And I think this is really good for the race. It seems like Verstappen is going to be my main rival for the win. But it seems currently like Russell, Perez, Sainz are all sort of not out of the race. Of course, it's early, and the safety car or something like that could do anything. But for the moment, Verstappen and I are certainly in the best position. I do get by Max there, and unfortunately, it seems like he's going to be able to get by me. He's going to have the DRS here, and I started using the battery, but then I decided against it. I didn't want to burn all my battery trying to defend against the pass that was going to happen anyway. So my hope was kind of, let me stay within range of this guy. Let's maybe work with each other a bit and just sort of pass each other with DRS and see if we can just further this lead over the other guys. I overcooked that one a little bit, unfortunately, and Verstappen and I are wheel to wheel there for a couple corners, and he's able to get ahead. And I was a little wary here just because I didn't want to spend too much time. I mean, we've seen so many times before in races with the AI where the AI battle each other, and I'm able to stay in the race with them because they're costing each other time by battling. And I didn't want to do the same thing to us. You see, Russell was over 4 seconds behind. Now is under 4 seconds behind, just because Verstappen and I were costing each other time by going wheel to wheel through a couple corners. And I probably added to that when I sort of got up next to him at turn 4, I guess that was. But I decided against trying to make a pass there. I do think we are getting to the point where Verstappen's tires are dropping off a little bit. I started to see that over the preceding few laps, where it just seemed like he didn't have the same pace. He didn't have the same exits that he was previously getting. So I think probably now is my opportunity and my chance to get a pass done and make it stick. So you see me hit the DRS, hit the battery, and I'm going to do everything I can here to get a pass done. I get to pass. It seems like I'm going to be able to keep it, hopefully, and I'm going to use a bit of battery throughout this lap to try to get outside the 1 second DRS gap. And I don't think I really do that, but I was able to use the battery on the straights, and within 2 laps there, lap 14, you can already see that I'm over a second in front of Verstappen. He does have the fast lap. We'll see if we can reclaim that later. But for the moment, I'm just going to stay the course because this is probably best case for me, being in front of Verstappen when he pits. He obviously hasn't pitted yet, but it seems like I'm going to be in front of him, and there he goes, pitting. So remember, Sainz, Leclerc, these guys are on the same tire as me, Piastri, Hamilton, so all of those are pretty comparable. I mean, they've been on their mediums for 20-ish laps, and I'm 10 seconds ahead of Sainz. The concern at the moment is Verstappen being able to undercut me. You can see on 5th place there, he's on the soft tires, so it seems like he's going soft, medium, or hard, TBD. But he is certainly going to be on a 2-stop. He obviously cannot just run softs for this race. So he's got at least one more pit stop to do. And you see I come out of the pits, and Hamilton and Russell are both in front of me. Hamilton remembers on the same strategy. Russell probably pitted about the same time Verstappen did. Verstappen's up there as well, and Leclerc. So I guess it's Leclerc, Sainz, Verstappen, Russell, and Hamilton. A couple guys pit right there, at least 2 cars, maybe 3 cars. And the result is that we have Leclerc in 1st place, Verstappen in 2nd place, Russell in 3rd place, I'm in 4th place. Remember, Verstappen is probably my competition for the win here. Leclerc, it seems like, might be going for a 1-stop just based on how long he stayed out on those tires. And those are mediums as well. So it seems like he's going for the 1-stop. I don't know if he's going to be able to make that work, but we'll see by the end of the race. Verstappen, remember, he undercut me a bit going onto the softs. Russell made quick work of him. We're just a lot faster than he is today. But fortunately, I had a lot of clear air here. There weren't too many backmarker cars in the way, so I was able to just put in these solid lap times and get to the point where I was pretty easily catching Leclerc. And his tires are absolutely cooked at this point in the race. I'm able to get past him pretty easily. I've still got a lot of grip in these new medium tires and made the pass pretty easily. Verstappen's another 3.5 seconds up the road. And I'm interested to see how this plays out. I think if I get caught up in any traffic and Verstappen is able to maybe capitalize on another undercut going into the 3rd stint, you could see a case where it's Verstappen and me sort of racing for the win at the end of the race. But more clear air here, and I was able to catch Verstappen pretty quickly. And lap 32, I'm probably going to go to the late 40s on these tires, I would guess. And it remains to be seen what Verstappen's going to do. But his tires, again, just after 10, 11 laps or so, something like that, his tires are just pretty quickly cooked. And my mediums have more life, and I've got the better car, and it's look, I was pretty immediately gapping him here and almost had the lead up to 3 seconds by the mid 30s laps. So it feels like the race is pretty much in my hands at this point, and I was just hoping that we wouldn't get any sort of safety car, red flag, anything like that. But I was feeling good. I was putting in good lap times. Did not make a lot of mistakes throughout this stint. I mean, there may have been one or two snaps of oversteer, just kind of quick moments, but I do in fact remember a couple moments, but nothing really significant enough to cost me any time or frankly even show you as the viewer of this video. But over 10 seconds on Verstappen, and it seems like I was a bit worried that he would undercut me on his third stint. I kind of expected like a soft hard strategy, but it looks kind of like he's going soft medium just based on how late he stayed in the race. I mean, he's got another, 17 laps, and he hasn't pit yet. So I kind of feel like he's going mediums, but I'm coming out in second place. I've got fresh, hard tires, and Leclerc is behind me, who, again, I think went medium soft. So I don't know how that strategy is going to work out for him. He's going to lose so much time, you would think, but he does get past me there, unfortunately. I say he's going to lose a lot of time, and then look what happens. He immediately gets past me. But I think that was more my error than it was his good driving, and also the fact that I'm on these cold, hard tires, which will certainly warm up after a couple laps. And I'm hopeful that I can get a shot at a fast lap here. I don't know if it's happened yet. I don't think it has, but Sainz at one point here is going to get the fast lap on new hard tires on this third stint. So it's certainly possible. We've got low fuel loads, and I think early in the life of these hard tires, I think they are going to be very fast. Like I said, with the low fuel loads and track rubbered in a bit. So I'm hopeful that I can set a fast lap. It would be nice to get that extra point. And, of course, we have our eyes on the win. It seems like Leclerc, if his tires hold on, is actually going to be right around this, but I really don't see how his tires are going to hold on. It seems like he's a non-issue in this race. Interestingly, Verstappen went under the hard tires, so he went one lap later than I did on that stint. You can see Sainz with the fast lap already, so as I said, this hard tire is fast. I just ran a 1:16.0 on new hard tires, which rivaled my best time on relatively new mediums, the 1:15.8. So I think there's only room to go up here, and I think that's what I'm showing you here. Is I was actually going for a bit of a fast lap attempt because I knew my opportunities are pretty limited. It's going to be right after I put the tires on, and it's by the time that they age a bit, I'm just not going to be able to get any kind of fast lap attempt done. So I think the time to do it is pretty quickly after I put the tires on, and that's what you're seeing. But as far as the race situation goes here, Leclerc has obviously dropped some time. The soft tires are not going to be fighting for anything as this race goes on. I have to think the wear is going to be terrible by lap 66. And Verstappen there, almost 10 seconds behind. I do think that was a missed opportunity by him. I wonder if they could have gone mediums on that last stint. Or maybe even just, I think, timed the stints better, because his pace really felt like it dropped off, and I do get the fast lap, 1:14.8. And I think I actually set a faster lap than that here later in my third stint, but we will see in the final timing page what I was able to do ultimately. But Leclerc just keeps dropping time. Verstappen actually gains a bit of time. But as I was saying, I just feel like they mismanaged that strategy. I feel like, first of all, I think it would have been a different race if he had gotten out of DRS range of me on the soft tires when I was on the mediums in the first stint. But we just had so much pace today that was not going to happen. I was able to keep within range of him, and ultimately by the time he pitted, I was already ahead of him. I was in first and he was in second. So the race, provided that I didn't make any colossal mess ups, which it appears that I won't. We've still got 2 more laps to go, but it appears that I won't. The race was pretty much over when my first stint was better than Verstappen's first stint, despite the fact that he was on softer tires than I was. And I just really felt like the mediums were fine throughout the stint, and it felt like we, comparatively to all the other drivers, had a lot of pace today. And even on the hards, I felt I had a surprising amount of pace on the hards. They were kind of tough to warm up there at the beginning, and you saw Leclerc on his older softs was a bit of competition. And I do seem to remember also that by the end of this hard tire stint, they did feel not exactly not terrible, but certainly not good. And I was not putting in competitive lap times compared to my fastest. But fortunately, that doesn't matter. Almost 10 seconds on Verstappen and Sainz. Leclerc, you see, ends up dropping back to fourth place. So remember, we were on the same tires when I started my stint, and since that point, I've gained roughly 23 and a half seconds on Leclerc. So um, I don't know. I mean, maybe that was the best strategy for the tires that they had, but it just seems like Leclerc probably could have done a little better than that with a different strategy. But not my problem. Our strategy was perfect. Worked out well. I was able to make the tires last and get some decent pace, and that's a solid win. And you see my teammate gets driver of the day there. Well done. But overall, I think a really good result here as we go into the pit lane and show a little bit of celebration amongst the team. Race winner. There we go. Only my second one of the year, so it's nice to get another one. And I think it sets up the momentum really well for the rest of the season. Spain is a track that I said, as I mentioned, I'm good at. So I don't know that every race will be the same level of consistency for me. I just happen to know this track pretty well and didn't really make any mistakes throughout the race. And of course, I think with the AI especially, you really have to be mistake free because they are not going to make too many mistakes. You got to capitalize on strategy, not lose too much time in the pit lane, not get damaged, any of that stuff. But this is just a race where start to finish, I kind of felt like we were the fastest car on track, minimize mistakes, and get a good result. So 26 points. We will see what that does in the grand scheme of things with the championship, but I have to think that's going to be pretty good. With Leclerc in fourth, I gained 14 points on him. I gained a lot of time on a lot of the guys that are around me, like Hamilton and Sainz and Verstappen. So I will go to the standings here in just a moment, right about now actually. But you see that I'm all the way up to second place, 23 points behind Leclerc with even one DNF by Leclerc, and you have to think that at some point he's going to have some reliability problems. We'll be right back in it, maybe at the top of the table. Third place in the constructor standings. I think we got really good momentum, and we'll see what we can do.